From the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Monday, September 30th. I'm Jonathan Ahl, in for Abby Lurico. All this week, we're broadcasting stories produced by the participants in the NPR Next Gen Radio project held in St. Louis. They focused on the meaning of home.
All families in general come with sacrifice, and the sacrifice for this family is dealing with the constant risk of injury.
The story on how roller derby became one writer's first sense of home and family. That's coming up on The Gateway. As the state audit of the St. Louis Public School District continues, school leaders say they submitted several requested documents last week. St. Louis Public Radio's Lucretia Wembley reports.
The Missouri State Auditor's Office began investigating the St. Louis Public School District last month after public officials requested the audit amid concerns about district finances. SLPS officials say they submitted the majority of documents requested by the state office last week. That includes credit card expenditures, employment contracts, and other district records. School officials say it's taken them time to gather the documents and that they've retrieved items going back 2 years. The audit comes as the Board of Education voted unanimously last week to fire Superintendent Keisha Scarlett following a third-party investigation into her hiring practices. Scarlett says she plans to contest the decision at a hearing before the school board next month. I'm Lucretia Wembley, St. Louis Public Radio.
Marijuana dispensaries in the city of St. Louis are poised to be able to stay open later. The Board of Aldermen on Friday approved legislation that would extend dispensary operating hours until 10 p.m. Currently, businesses must close at 8. That's an hour earlier than their counterparts in St. Louis County and 4 hours earlier than those in Illinois. 14th Ward Alderman Rasheen Aldridge says the earlier hours are costing the city money.
Budget Director Paul Payne said we're expected to bring in just $2.4 million at our current operation.
The mayor says she plans to sign the bill. It does not change any other regulations in dispensaries, such as where they can be located or the kind of security they must have. Advocates for lower drug prices say a federal lawsuit against St. Louis-based Express Scripts and 2 other companies could result in more affordable medicine for patients. St. Louis Public Radio's Sarah Fenton reports the Federal Trade Commission earlier this month filed suit against the pharmacy benefit manager, alleging it and other similar companies have artificially inflated insulin prices.
Pharmacy benefit managers negotiate with manufacturers and insurance companies to set patient drug prices. The suit claims the companies choose higher-priced insulins and pocket the high rebates from manufacturers. The companies deny the claims. Express Scripts officials say the federal agency ignores its long attempted to get insurers to include lower-priced drugs. Loretta Bozings, the founder of the Missouri-based advocacy group Unite for Safe Medications. She says she hopes the insulin suit will lower costs for other drugs.
I think if you take out the incentive for the distortion of drug prices, then we create a more level playing field.
If the FTC finds companies violated the law, it could make them include lower-priced drugs in their coverage plans. I'm Sarah Fenton, St. Louis Public Radio.
St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell says Marcellus Williams' execution should provoke more introspection among elected officials about the death penalty. Bell unsuccessfully sought to vacate Williams' conviction in the 1998 murder of Felicia Gale. Williams long proclaimed his innocence, and Bell added the physical evidence linking him to the crime wasn't there. Bell hasn't sought the death penalty since he became a prosecutor in 2019. He says the Williams case shows why other prosecutors should take the same tact.
From a morality standpoint, from a public policy standpoint, also from an economic standpoint, the death penalty doesn't make sense. It doesn't work.
Bell was a guest on St. Louis on the Air. Tomorrow is the last day for people who worked from home during the early days of the pandemic to apply for refunds of St. Louis's 1% earnings tax. In July, the city reopened the refund window for 2020, 2021, and 2022 to settle a lawsuit brought by people who lived outside the city but worked for companies based in its borders. They had routinely submitted applications for refunds for days they had traveled for business, but were denied refunds for remote work arrangements due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Officials budgeted $26 million to cover the cost of the refunds plus interest. The Collector of Revenue's office said through August, the city had paid out nearly $11 million. Last week, St. Louis Public Radio hosted NPR's Next Gen Radio, a program dedicated to finding, coaching, and training public media's next generation. 5 emerging journalists spent an intensive week producing stories relating to the meaning of home, and we're airing them this week. For queer people, it can be hard to plant roots when you don't have the support of your biological family. It took broken bones, making friends, and falling in love with the sport of roller derby to help Gabe Montesani find her chosen family and her home.
I was recruited at a coffee shop by a woman who had a stack of flyers, and she came up to me and she said, "You look like you're really tough. You look like you could beat the crap out of somebody. You should come play roller derby." Hi, I'm Gabe Montesanti. I am number 94 on the roller derby track, and my derby name is Joan of Spark. And you're done. Quick go, quick go, quick go. I came to the St. Louis Stadium for recruit night. The first night, we were not on skates at all. We simply learned about things like the rules, like there's no ball in roller derby. I'm standing in the St. Louis Stadium, which I very much consider my sacred space, my home. I'm estranged from my biological family. They had issues with my queerness. This family here, it's the opposite of that. You know, their queerness is the norm. I knew how to fit in, and I knew how to use my body in a way that would communicate, and I felt like I could do all the talking with my body, even though I didn't know how to skate. So right now they're doing a series of contact drills that are 2-on-1s. So I've been injured several times on the roller derby track, starting with almost immediately when I started playing roller derby. I broke my thumb, and I couldn't write. And that was the whole reason I came to St. Louis in the first place. So roller derby is my chosen family, and I think all chosen families, all families in general, come with sacrifice. And the sacrifice for this family is dealing with the constant risk of injury. So I'll choose that every time. I'm standing in University City, where I live, in front of Centennial Commons at the Heman Park Pool, which is where I learned how to walk again after I broke my leg. I was just skating a practice, and I tripped myself, and I fell, and I knew the bone was broken right away. I could hear it crack. So I was a competitive swimmer from ages 9 all through college, and as soon as I broke my leg, I just wanted to be buoyant. I think my definition of home is where I have agency, and Arch Rival has given me the kind of agency that I haven't had in a long time, and has given me the kind of empowerment that I haven't experienced in a long time. My professors were starting to hear, you're talking about this so much. They were saying, write what you know. And so I started writing essays about roller derby. This is an excerpt from my book, Brace for Impact, which was published in 2022. This pool, pulsing with sound on the rooftop of the Worldwide Roller Derby Convention, was the place where all the freaks and queers and misfits commuted to from their typical place in the margins. I felt at home. Miss Joan of Spark, is that you? I thought to myself. I'd never imagined I would find a little place of queer heaven like this, especially back when I was kissing Kelly under bridges, back when my mother was screaming, "Don't do this to me." Maybe I was afraid of not belonging in Derby to these beautiful outsiders in all their glory. Maybe I was afraid of not belonging to myself.
Gabe Montesani's story was produced by Darius Varner with NPR's Next Gen Radio. You can learn more about the program and hear more stories on our website, stlpr.org. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. We are a member-supported service of the University of Missouri, St. Louis. I'm Jonathan Ahl, and from the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this has been The Gateway.